Sweet Jesus, this can't be happening. The pounding at my door wouldn't cease. 4 heavy thuds, silence, then 4 more. It was 2:30 in the morning, and whoever stood outside had the kind of determination that made my heart race with dread. I tightened the belt on my bathrobe and inched toward the peephole. My cell phone gripped so tight in my clammy hands I thought I might crack the screen. Through the warped lens, I glimpsed him impossibly tall, dressed in a midnight black suit that screamed money, with a face carved from marble and eyes that seemed to pierce straight through the wooden barrier into my very core. 2 sleek black Range Rovers idled behind him on the curb, their engines purring like predators ready to pounce. This was the stranger I'd been messaging for the last 6 hours, the same man who'd forwarded me a photograph of my building just 60 minutes earlier. My fingers trembled so violently I nearly sent my phone clattering to the floor. 4 more knocks. Steady, measured, absolutely chilling. Every rational part of my brain screamed to dial 911, to yell for help, to do literally anything other than what my hand reached for. I turned the lock and pulled the door open. Welcome back, friends. This is Prince of Afro-Korean stories, where passion, danger, and impossible romance intersect. Please keep sharing your ideas for future episodes. And kindly like, share, and subscribe, and activate notifications so you never miss our latest content. Now let me rewind to where this whole mess began, 6 hours before that terrifying knock on Jasmine's door. 6 hours earlier, Jasmine was intoxicated. Not stumbling drunk, but floating in that sweet spot where bad decisions feel like genius ideas, and tomorrow's regrets don't exist yet. She lay stretched across her bed, still wearing the sparkly dress from Ladies' Night, thumb scrolling through her contacts with vision slightly blurred. Her best friend Tanya had driven her home 30 minutes ago with the standard lecture about hydration and making smart choices. Way too late for wisdom. Jasmine pulled up Derek's contact. Derek from her Pilates class. Derek with that devastating grin and shoulders that made her lose track of her breathing exercises. Derek, who'd been dropping hints for almost a month, but never actually made a move. Perhaps he just needed a nudge in the right direction. Her thumbs danced across the touchscreen, with liquid courage leading the way. I know the hour is crazy, but you've been consuming my thoughts. I'm over all these games we keep playing. You sense this energy between us, don't you? Because I absolutely do. And I believe it's time we stop acting like we don't. She pressed send before second thoughts could intervene, then flung her phone toward her pillows like it had suddenly caught fire. Lord have mercy, what had she just done? Her phone vibrated. Once, twice. Jasmine dove for it. When she finally looked at the screen, the reply made every hair on her body stand up. This message was intended for someone else, but I find myself extremely curious about who you believed you were contacting. That definitely wasn't Derek's vibe. Derek sent laughing emojis and kept things casual. This felt formal, icy, and somehow menacing despite the polite wording. Jasmine's stomach twisted as she tapped the contact name. It displayed Derek's name, but checking the actual digits revealed the final number was an 8 instead of a 3. She'd just poured her heart out to a complete stranger. Her fingers attacked the keyboard. Oh Lord, I apologize profusely. This is mortifying beyond words. I was trying to reach someone completely different. Please erase that message and pretend you never saw it. The response appeared almost instantly. Erase it. When it's the most genuine communication I've received in months? Absolutely not. Tell me, fearless stranger, what drives you to abandon these games you mention? Jasmine stared at her screen in disbelief. This wasn't normal stranger behavior. Regular people would chuckle awkwardly, maybe crack a joke, then peace out. But this person was engaging, probing, demanding answers. Listen, I already said sorry. Can't we just act like this never occurred? No. Just that single word. No justification, no explanation, just a stone-cold refusal that made something flip in her chest. Fighting against her better instincts, she typed back. Why the hell not? Because you've captured my attention. It's rare to encounter someone so refreshingly transparent. Everyone in my sphere is too frightened to speak truthfully about anything. But you exposed your vulnerability without hesitation. That requires real strength. Jasmine pushed herself upright, her buzz rapidly fading. Something felt deeply wrong about this exchange in a way that made her skin prickle. Who exactly are you? Does my identity truly matter? We're two strangers sharing an authentic dialogue at 2 o'clock in the morning. Isn't that what you were seeking? Real connection without the performance. He wasn't wrong, damn it. And despite every survival instinct blaring warning sirens, Jasmine found her fingers moving again. I suppose that's fair, but you have to admit this is bizarre, right? Like, this doesn't just happen. Perhaps it should happen more frequently. Tell me about your life, fearless stranger. And somehow, inexplicably, she opened up. Maybe the alcohol still flowing through her veins played a role. Maybe the safety of anonymous texting in the darkness loosened her tongue. But Jasmine started sharing. She described her nursing career, the exhaustion mixed with the profound satisfaction of healing people. She confessed to feeling overlooked sometimes in a world that didn't always acknowledge her worth. She mentioned her relatives back in Houston, how much she craved her aunt's soul food, the ambitious dreams that seemed too massive for her modest one-bedroom. And he absorbed it all. Or at least his responses made her feel genuinely heard. You're far from invisible, he typed. People who transform lives never are, regardless of whether they recognize it. Easy for you to claim when you're a complete stranger. I'm beginning to know you. And from my perspective, you're someone who embraces risk. You contacted your crush because you possess the courage to pursue more than superficial games. That's not invisible. That's extraordinary. Jasmine felt her heart perform an unexpected acrobatic move in her chest. All right, mystery man. Your turn. Who are you? What's your story? The gap before his answers stretched longer this time. I manage a business enterprise. Import and export operations primarily. It's intricate and rather dull to discuss. Nothing is dull at 2 in the morning. What exactly do you import? Various merchandise, artwork, historical artifacts, specialized commodities. Like I mentioned, intricate. His evasiveness triggered alarm bells somewhere in her mind. But Jasmine was too wrapped up in the peculiar intimacy they'd stumbled into to stop now. They continued texting for another solid hour. He inquired about her comfort foods, her anxieties, her aspirations. She questioned him about his existence, though his responses remained carefully measured, revealing just enough breadcrumbs to maintain her interest, without satisfying her hunger for real information. Then, at 3:30 in the morning, everything shifted. I need to meet you face to face. Jasmine's breath hitched in her throat. Excuse me? No way. We're literally strangers. But are we truly? I know you're courageous, transparent, and exhausted from being overlooked. I know your ambitions exceed your current circumstances. I know you don't shy away from risks when something resonates with you. That's not the same as actually knowing a person. Then allow me to truly know you. Join me for dinner. I don't even have your name. Minjae. And you are? Jasmine paused. Sharing her name felt like stepping across a boundary she couldn't step back over. Jasmine. Beautiful name. It fits you perfectly. You haven't even seen my face. His next message made her phone nearly slide from her grasp. Haven't I? Before her mind could catch up, another text arrived. This one contained a photograph of her apartment complex shot from street level, obviously recent, because she could identify her bedroom lamp glowing in the window of her third-story unit. Every drop of blood in Jasmine's body turned to slush. She launched herself off the mattress, sprinted to her window, and ripped the curtains back. The street 3 floors down sat empty, except for parked vehicles and the amber wash of streetlights. Her hands shook so badly she could barely press the keys. How did you obtain that photograph? Are you stalking me? What kind of sick game is this? Don't panic. I simply needed to confirm you were genuine. You're more authentic than anything in my world has been for years. This isn't charming. It's psychotic. You need to stay away. From me, I will after you grant me one opportunity to explain. I'm not what you're imagining, Jasmine. I'm not some deranged stalker, but I am someone who recognized something precious when I encountered it. And I don't allow precious things to escape. You're completely unhinged, possibly, but you're still messaging me instead of contacting the authorities. So perhaps you sense it too, this connection, this inexplicable thing that shouldn't exist but does anyway. Jasmine's thumb froze above the screen. He'd hit the nail on the head. She should have blocked him immediately. Dialed 911, done something sensible. But here she remained, still engaged, still feeling that magnetic pull toward the abyss. One encounter, he wrote, in a public location of your choosing. Allow me to clarify who I am and why I had to find you. If afterward you want me vanished, I'll evaporate. You'll never receive another message from me. You have my word. The word of a stranger who photographed my home. The word of a man who recognizes something worth gambling everything for. Jasmine squeezed her eyes shut. This defied all logic. This screamed danger. This embodied everything her grandmother had cautioned her against. Tomorrow evening, 6 p.m. sharp. The coffee place on 5th and Madison. And if you're even 1 second tardy, I'm out. I'll be there at 5:58. Rather than blocking him, she opened Tanya's contact and started typing, her hands still quivering. Girl, I've done something really stupid. Tanya's call came through within seconds. Jazz, what's going on? Are you safe? The entire saga spilled out. The drunken message, the mysterious stranger, the photo of her building. Tanya listened with increasingly horrified gasps until Jasmine reached the end. Hell no, Tanya stated emphatically. He photographed your building, Jazz. He knows where you sleep. That's textbook stalker behavior. Stalkers don't magically transform into Prince Charming over lattes. It'll be completely public. You can tag along, sit somewhere else, watch everything. Or, and stick with me here, you could block his creepy ass and maybe think about finding a new place to live. Jasmine perched on her bed's edge, phone against her ear, and realized she lacked any solid defense. Tanya spoke the truth. Every single aspect of this situation screamed run. But that inexplicable pull refused to release its grip. 24 hours ago, Jasmine said softly, I was venting about how bored I am with my life, how tired I am of the same cycle, the same letdowns, the same safe decisions that lead absolutely nowhere. So your solution is getting murdered to spice things up? My solution is meeting him in broad daylight in a crowded space with you as backup. If he's insane, I walk away. But Tan, what if he's not? What if this is one of those sliding door moments that alters everything? Tanya went silent for a long beat. You're actually feeling this random dude, aren't you? I don't even know who he is. That wasn't my question. Jasmine reflected on those messages, on feeling visible in a way she hadn't experienced in months, possibly years. On the electric thrill of the unknown tangled with genuine intrigue about who could make her feel so intensely through pixels on a screen. I think maybe I am. Then I'm definitely showing up, and I'm packing pepper spray and bringing my cousin Darnell. Maybe we should call a pastor too, because clearly you're possessed. Despite the gravity of everything, Jasmine laughed, but sleep evaded her that night. She remained in bed, curtains sealed tight, phone on her nightstand, wondering what rabbit hole she'd tumbled into. Every groan of the building's old bones made her flinch. Every vehicle rolling past outside accelerated her pulse. At 7 a.m., unable to endure the suspense any longer, she messaged him. Why me? Of all the mistaken numbers in existence, why are you so fixated on someone who accidentally texted you? His reply appeared 3 minutes later, meaning he'd been awake as well. Because you reminded me what authenticity sounds like. In my universe, everyone has ulterior motives. Everyone is calculating their next move. Everyone is performing. But your message, it was unfiltered and genuine. You weren't attempting to manipulate or dazzle anyone. You were simply being human. I'd forgotten what that sensation felt like. Your universe. What does that mean exactly? Come to coffee, let me reveal it to you. The hours dragged. Jasmine moved through her hospital shift mechanically, sneaking glances at her phone between patients, questioning whether she should cancel, questioning whether she'd completely lost her mind. At 5:30, she stood before her closet, swapping outfits for the 5th time. Tanya occupied her bed, observing with worried eyes. You realize you can still bail, right? I'm aware, but you're going regardless. I am. Then at least rock the burgundy dress. If you're making questionable life decisions, might as well look fire doing it. They reached the coffee shop at 5:45. Tanya claimed a window table with an unobstructed view of both the entrance and Jasmine's designated meeting area. Her cousin Darnell sat posted up in his truck outside, prepared to intervene if everything went sideways. Jasmine ordered chamomile tea she had zero interest in drinking and settled into a corner table. Back against the wall, eyes locked on the door. At 5:58, a black Range Rover glided up to the curb. At 5:59, the shop door swung open. And at precisely 6 p.m., Min Jae entered. Jasmine completely forgot how to breathe. He was even more devastating in person. Impossibly tall, with chiseled features softened by unexpectedly kind eyes, dressed in charcoal slacks, and an immaculate white button-down that probably cost more than 3 months of her rent. He moved with the kind of self-assurance that came from never questioning whether he belonged anywhere. Their eyes connected across the coffee shop, and Jasmine experienced that pull again, amplified, now nearly gravitational. He approached with deliberate steps, and when he stopped at her table, he inclined his head slightly. "Jasmine, Min-jae, may I join you?" She managed a nod, not trusting her vocal cords. He lowered himself into the chair with liquid grace, folding his hands on the table's surface. Up close, she noticed faint scars decorating his knuckles, the type earned through combat, not clumsiness. "I appreciate you taking this chance. You didn't exactly give me options. There are always options. You chose to be here. That reveals something. It reveals I'm nosy and possibly reckless." That barely there smile touched his lips. Honesty once more. I value that quality. So start explaining. Who are you actually? Don't feed me that import-export line again. Min-jae studied her face for an extended moment, as if committing every detail to memory. "I'm someone who exists in a realm you shouldn't be exposed to. Someone who makes choices most people couldn't comprehend. Someone who's constructed an empire built on intimidation, loyalty, and authority." Jasmine's throat went bone dry. "You're a criminal. I prefer entrepreneur. But yes, by society's standards, I function beyond legal boundaries." "What sort of enterprise?" "The sort that maintains certain sections of this city operating efficiently. The sort that resolves issues other people are unable or unwilling to address. The sort that demands unwavering allegiance and permits no disloyalty." "You're in the Mafia, Korean organized syndicate." "Correct. And before you flee, allow me to explain why I'm sitting here. In my role, everyone deceives. Everyone acts. Everyone displays only what they believe I wish to observe. But your text, it was unvarnished and authentic and human. And when I responded, you didn't try to impress me or play games. You conversed with me like I was a person, not a position. Do you comprehend how extraordinary that is?" Jasmine's hands trembled. She needed to leave. She needed to sprint and never glance backward. But his eyes contained something she hadn't anticipated. Isolation. "So what? You're hoping I'll become your criminal girlfriend. I'm hoping you'll share a meal with me. Allow me to take you somewhere we can genuinely converse, without your friend shooting daggers at me from across the room and your friend's cousin sitting in that truck outside, ready to play hero." Jasmine felt heat rush to her face. "How did you? I excel at what I do. That's why I'm still breathing. This is absolutely insane. It is. I should walk out right now. You should. But I'm not planning to." That smile again, warmer this time. "No, I suspect you're not. There's a Korean establishment 3 blocks away. My organization controls it, which guarantees safety, private dining space, exceptional cuisine. And I give you my word, you can depart whenever you choose. Jasmine, I'm not attempting to ensnare you. I'm attempting to understand you, against every instinct, every warning signal, every rational neuron. Firing in her brain, Jasmine stood. "One dinner, and if I don't appreciate what I hear, this concludes tonight. That's reasonable." She walked to Tanya's table while Min-jae waited near the entrance. "Jazz, what are you doing? Something insane. Stay alert, okay? If I don't message you within 2 hours, contact the police. I'm contacting them right now. Tanya, please. Trust me on this. I trust you. It's him I don't trust. 2 hours." The restaurant exuded elegance, all rich mahogany and ambient lighting. The proprietor welcomed Min-jae with a profound bow and the kind of fear-laced respect that validated everything he'd disclosed. They were escorted to a secluded room featuring a low table and floor cushions. As they settled in, Jasmine observed how everyone regarded Min-jae with reverence, with terror, with the kind of cautious attention people reserve for apex predators. "They're petrified of you. They're petrified of what I embody. The syndicate, the influence, the repercussions of failure. Does that disturb you? It used to. Now it's simply reality." Dishes began materializing. Course after course of exquisite, fragrant Korean delicacies. Min-jae described each preparation, his voice tender, his demeanor surprisingly patient. "You're not what I anticipated," Jasmine admitted, lifting her chopsticks. "What did you anticipate? Someone harder, more ruthless? More like the antagonists in films. I can embody those qualities when circumstances demand it. But tonight, with you, I'd prefer to simply be Min-jae. Not the leader, not the businessman, just a man sharing dinner with an intriguing woman." So he did. He shared stories about his childhood in Seoul, about his father's syndicate, about having his destiny predetermined before he possessed the wisdom to comprehend the implications. He confessed about the brutality he'd witnessed, the decisions he'd been forced to execute, the burden of holding so many lives in his palms. "I'm 34 years old," he said quietly, "and I've never experienced a conversation like what we shared last night. Never felt like someone perceived me as anything beyond what I could provide them or inflict upon them. That's heartbreaking, its existence. But then you transmitted that text intended for another man. And for several hours, I became just a stranger conversing with another stranger. No expectations, no terror, no manipulation, just transparency." Jasmine set her chopsticks aside. "I'm a nurse, Min-jae. I dedicate my days to preserving lives. You're confessing you're part of a syndicate that eliminates them. How is this supposed to function? I lack certainty, but I know I had to see you. I know that sensation I experienced reading your words is something I've pursued my entire existence without recognizing it. I know that walking away from you feels like abandoning the final opportunity I'll ever possess to become something beyond what my father molded me into." Before Jasmine could formulate a response, the door exploded. Inward. 3 armed men stormed in, weapons raised. The first bullet obliterated a ceramic vase. The second struck the wall inches above Min-jae's skull. Everything accelerated into chaos. Min-jae moved with impossible speed, overturning the table and dragging Jasmine behind it in one seamless motion. His body shielded hers as additional shots erupted. His palm pressed firmly against her head, forcing her down. Jasmine heard shouting in Korean, more gunfire, then abrupt silence. When she dared peek up, 3 corpses littered the floor. Min-jae gripped a weapon she hadn't noticed him produce. His expression had transformed, cold, vacant, nothing resembling the gentleman who'd been explaining Korean cuisine moments earlier. His phone buzzed. He answered in rapid-fire Korean, his tone razor-sharp and authoritative, while maintaining one hand on Jasmine's shoulder. Then gradually, his expression thawed. He holstered the weapon and turned toward her. "Are you injured?" Jasmine was shaking so intensely she couldn't form words. She simply shook her head. "We need to leave immediately." He lifted her gently but insistently, guiding her past the bodies while blocking her view. Outside, additional suited men materialized, forming a protective perimeter as they advanced toward the Range Rover. Jasmine's mind couldn't process recent events. One moment, they'd been discussing his solitary existence. The next, bullets were flying. And now she occupied a vehicle racing through the city with a man who'd just eliminated 3 people defending her. "Where are we headed?" "Somewhere secure. Those men belong to a competing organization. They observed me with you. That designates you as a target now. Oh God, listen." He clasped her hand, and she registered how warm it felt. "I won't permit anything to harm you. I swear it." They arrived at a penthouse apartment featuring floor-to-ceiling windows, showcasing the city. Min-jae guided her toward a leather sofa and draped a throw blanket across her shoulders. "I apologize. I never should have brought you to the restaurant. I assumed it would be protected, but I miscalculated." Jasmine studied him. He'd just killed 3 men. She should be paralyzed with fear. She should be dialing 911. She should be demanding immediate transport home. Instead, she whispered, "You shielded me. Naturally, I did. You could have died. Better me than you. We barely know each other. And yet here we exist." He sat beside her, deliberately maintaining space. "Jasmine, I can arrange transport home. I can provide security for you until I neutralize this threat. You never need to see me again if that's your preference. But I need you to understand something first." "What?" "In my entire existence, I've never experienced what I felt when those bullets commenced flying, and my sole thought was protecting you. Not my enterprise, not my standing, not my own survival. Just you. And I've known you less than 24 hours. That should be impossible. Jasmine's heart hammered for completely different reasons now. This is madness. Absolutely. I should escape from you as rapidly as possible. You definitely should. But I don't want to. His eyes widened fractionally. Why not? Tonight was the most terrified I've ever been, and simultaneously, the most exhilarated. You're dangerous and complicated, and everything sensible says I should avoid. But Min-jae, when you covered me without hesitation, when you looked at me afterward like my survival mattered more than your own existence, I've never had anyone look at me like that. Jasmine, I'm not declaring I'm diving headfirst into this. I'm not claiming I can accept your profession or that this makes any logical sense. But I am saying I'm not prepared to walk away. Not yet. He extended his hand slowly, allowing her time to retreat, and cradled her face. His touch was incredibly delicate for someone who'd been so lethal minutes prior. You're either exceptionally brave or exceptionally foolish, possibly both. I can't guarantee you a conventional life. I can't guarantee you safety or simplicity or any of the things you merit. But what I can guarantee is that I will dedicate every day to earning this chance. That I will defend you with everything I possess. That I will never deceive you, even when the truth is ugly. And that whatever this is between us, I've never experienced anything comparable, and I don't believe I ever will again. Jasmine leaned into his palm, her eyes drifting closed briefly. This is going to be incredibly complicated. Impossibly so. My best friend is going to believe I've lost my mind. She's likely correct. And you're going to need to make some significant changes if this is going to work. I can't be with someone who's perpetually in danger, who's perpetually placing me in danger. Min-jae nodded slowly. I've been contemplating that. About delegating some of my obligations, withdrawing from the frontline activities. It won't occur overnight, and it won't be simple. There will be individuals who interpret it as weakness. But if it means possessing a chance at something authentic, something that's mine and not my father's inheritance, I'll discover a path. I'm not demanding you abandon everything. I'm not abandoning it. I'm selecting something superior. I'm selecting the possibility of a life that doesn't terminate in bloodshed and betrayal. I'm selecting you if you'll accept me. Jasmine opened her eyes and discovered him gazing at her with such raw vulnerability it stole her breath. One intoxicated text transformed my entire world. Best mistaken number I ever responded to. She laughed, startling herself. After everything that had transpired, she was laughing in the embrace of a man who probably shouldn't exist in her universe at all. But perhaps that was precisely the point. Perhaps life wasn't about remaining in your comfortable little box, obeying the rules, playing it safe. Perhaps sometimes the most significant moments emerge from the mistakes, the accidents, the moments when you said yes to something terrifying and impossible. So what happens now, she inquired. Now I ensure your safety. I address the people who threatened you, and then, if you're willing, we determine how to make this function one day at a time. One honest conversation at a time. And if it doesn't function, then at least we attempted. At least we possessed the courage to discover what this could become. Jasmine gazed out at the glittering cityscape, then back at Min-jae. His hand remained on her face, his thumb gently caressing her cheek. In his eyes, she witnessed possibility. Danger, undoubtedly, but also something she'd been searching for without realizing it. Someone who perceived her completely and desired her anyway. All right, she breathed. Let's attempt this. He smiled, and it transformed his entire countenance. For just a moment, he wasn't a syndicate leader or a dangerous criminal. He was simply a man who'd discovered something unexpected and precious and was determined not to release it. Over the subsequent 2 weeks, Jasmine discovered what existing in Min-jae's world entailed. He maintained her safety with discreet security she barely detected. He called daily, sometimes just to hear her voice. He sent orchids to the hospital with notes that made her smile even during the most grueling shifts. And slowly, carefully, he began implementing changes, reorganizing his syndicate, delegating violent operations, extracting himself from the brutality that had defined his existence. It wasn't smooth. There were objections from within his organization, threats from competitors who interpreted his transformation as vulnerability. But every time circumstances grew difficult, Jasmine was there, not to alter him or repair him, but to remind him why he was making these choices. To demonstrate there was something worth fighting for beyond power and control. 3 weeks after that initial intoxicated text, they experienced their first genuine date. Not in a private space or a fortified location, but at a regular restaurant like regular people. Min-jae was anxious in a way that was endearing, like he'd forgotten how to be normal. "This feels strange," he confessed over dinner. "What does? Being out like this. Being just us. No bodyguards hovering nearby, no business to negotiate, just dinner and conversation. This is what normal relationships resemble. I believe I appreciate it. You believe? Fine, I definitely appreciate it. Even if I'm completely clueless about what I'm doing." Jasmine reached across the table and grasped his hand. "Neither do I. We're discovering it together. That's what makes it genuine." And it was genuine. Complicated, messy, occasionally frightening, but genuine. They originated from different worlds, different cultures, different existences entirely. But in those peaceful moments between the chaos, they discovered something neither had anticipated. Home. Tanya eventually accepted it, though it required several supervised encounters and Min-jae's authentic commitment to transforming his life. Darnell remained skeptical, but protective. Jasmine's mother, when she finally encountered him, proclaimed him too handsome to be trustworthy, but also courteous enough to deserve an opportunity. The journey wasn't seamless. There were obstacles and dangers and moments when Jasmine questioned whether she'd made the correct choice. But every time doubt infiltrated her thoughts, Min-jae proved himself. Not with extravagant gestures or hollow promises, but with consistent action, transparent communication, and a dedication to constructing something better. 6 months after that intoxicated text, they stood on his penthouse balcony, the city sprawling below them like an ocean of luminescence. "Do you ever regret it?" Min-jae inquired. Texting the wrong number, Jasmine contemplated it. The fear and the danger and the impossibility of their circumstances. But she also considered the way he gazed at her, the way he'd revolutionized his entire existence for a chance at something authentic, the way he made her feel visible and valued and treasured, not even for a heartbeat. "Excellent, because I intend to spend the rest of my existence ensuring you never do." He kissed her then, gentle and sweet, and Jasmine reflected on how peculiar life was. How one moment of intoxicated courage, one misdirected message, one wrong number could lead to this. To love in the most unexpected location with the most unexpected person. Sometimes the best things in life occur by accident. Sometimes courage resembles saying yes to something terrifying. And sometimes the person you're meant to discover is precisely the person you never imagined you'd encounter. All because of one text transmitted to the wrong number at exactly the right moment. We've reached the conclusion of our compelling African-Korean story. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories that prove love can heal the deepest wounds. Share this with someone who needs to believe in second chances. Your support means everything to me. Comment below and tell us what part of this story touched your heart the most.